Battle through the heavens. A dense white flame surged out of Xiao Yan's body in front of the many shocked eyes before it was immediately withdrawn, shrinking back into Xiao Yan's body with lightning-like speed. Following the return of the flame, an unusually powerful aura slowly erupted from Xiao Yan's body, as though it had just been awoken. The surrounding space began to fluctuate under this vast and mighty strength. Xiao Yan stood in the sky. His face was unusually bright red. Even his dark black eyes were covered by a wild and violent energy. This kind of fierce and untamed caused even Xiao Yan to quietly be surprised. He had not expected the eruption of 3 types of heavenly flames to create such a violent energy. Xiao Yan slowly clenched his fist with much difficulty. His entire body had become a little rigid due to the surging energy. This kind of rigidity lasted for a couple of minutes before Xiao Yan gradually became accustomed to it. What an overbearing Skyfire 3 mysterious change. After his body gradually adapted to this kind of wild, violent energy, even Xiao Yan could not resist gently inhaling a breath of cool air. If his body had not been refined by many natural treasures, it was likely that he could forget about using it to fight an opponent. He would suffer a backlash and die after having just used this thing. Who? No wonder Tang Zhen instructed me to avoid using the 3 changes unless I have no choice. His words were indeed full of truth. Xiao Yan gently clenched his hand. He sensed the surging energy within his body in the corner of his mouth was slowly lifted into a slight arc. However, this kind of feeling, after having endured the pain, is indeed extremely splendid. Based on Xiao Yan's own guess, his current strength had likely reached the level of a 7-star Dou zone. In other words, the Skyfire 3 mysterious change had caused his strength to raise 5 stars. Of course, the current increase in strength might be extremely great, but the sequelae that it would bring would naturally also be great. Fortunately, Xiao Yan's body was far stronger than an ordinary expert's body. Otherwise, just this eruption alone would have been enough to cause him to spend half a year or more recuperating. This transformation of Xiao Yan had also attracted the attention of Tian Huizunjie and Tian Shuangzi, who were merely facing each other without fighting. Their gazes drifted over. Tian Huizunjie nodded with a smile. Even he had difficulty knowing all the trump cards that Xiao Yan possessed. However, he also understood that this person might appear young, but anyone who really wanted to kill him would likely find the experience unbelievably difficult. Tian Shuangzi's eyes glanced over for a moment before slightly frowning. However, he did not pay much attention to the matter. Regardless of how strong the secret technique one used, that person would not be too much of a threat in his eyes as long as that person did not break through to the Dou Zun class. The only person whom he viewed seriously was Tian Huizunjie in front of him. As for Xiao Yan, even if Protector Wu could not deal with him, there would naturally be Tian Shi and some Ice River Valley's elders intervening. He did not believe that a mere 2-star Dou zone would be able to turn everything around even if he did possess the Burning Flame Valley's secret technique. Xiao Yan was naturally unaware of the thoughts in this old fellow's heart. After gradually adapting to the majestic, wild, violent energy within his body, he once again lifted up the heavy Xian ruler. He slightly raised his head and his eyes landed on Protector Wu, whose black fog had stiffened, and Xiao Yan then glanced at Tian Shi beside him, whose expression had turned gloomy. All of this was because of his transformation. Xiao Yan finally parted his mouth and said, "Old fellow, I said that I would take this old life of yours today." The sluggish, black fog slowly flowed once again. A face that was filled with a dark solemnness was revealed. Protector Wu's eyes were dense as he looked at Xiao Yan and said, "What arrogant words. This secret technique might significantly raise your strength, but there is ultimately a time limit. Once the time limit of the secret technique is reached, you will just be a useless person. Before that happens, there's more than enough time to kill you. Xiao Yan smiled. However, this smile was filled with killing intent. What arrogance! Protector Wu coldly laughed. However, his voice had just sounded when he saw Xiao Yan's body suddenly tremble. A chill surged into Protector Wu's heart when Xiao Yan's body trembled. His sharp instincts over the years maneuvered his body as he hurriedly withdrew in a lightning-like manner. Just when Protector Wu had just taken 2 steps back, the space in front of him suddenly fluctuated. A ghost-like figure suddenly appeared. The heavy ruler, which was covered by a jade-green flame, carried a terrifying force that caused his skin to feel a chill as it furiously hacked down. The heavy ruler adhered to the front of Protector Wu as it narrowly passed him. Although it failed to make contact, the heat contained on it still caused Protector Wu's face to instantly turn bright red. Protector Wu's body swiftly moved back after the ruler missed. A cold sweat involuntarily appeared in his heart. His back was covered in perspiration. If he had not reacted quickly earlier, it was likely that he would have been turned into mincemeat from Xiao Yan's slamming ruler attack. This brat's speed has become very fast after using that secret technique. Even I am unable to follow him. Protector Wu involuntarily felt some anger from embarrassment after the cold perspiration appeared. He let out a low furious roar. This protector doesn't believe that you, as a younger generation, can flip the sky around when even Yao Chen was unable to escape my hands. A low cry was emitted from the black fog. Immediately, numerous black shadows carried a sharp screech as they surged out of the black fog. These black shadows had just appeared when they adhered to the black-colored chains that had spread apart. After the approach of these black shadows, the black-colored chains appeared like numerous ferocious mouths that swallowed these black shadows. Immediately, strange, black glows began to linger over the chains. 100 soul-locking sky python. After swallowing the black shadows, the black-colored chain became more unusual. Immediately, a dense, cold cry suddenly sounded. The numerous black-colored chains, that reached toward the sky, immediately emitted a clanging sound as they bunched together. In merely an instant, they turned into a large, black python that seemed alive. The black python was formed from many chains. At a glance, it seemed to be emitting a strange, metallic feeling. Black fog lingered over it as a kind of terrifying, cold aura spread from it. It appeared as though it was a large snake in some deep ravine, causing one to feel a fear by simply looking at it. Go! The black fog wiggled as a dense, cold voice sounded. The enormous black python's large eyes immediately displayed a black glint. It swung its tail, tore through the space, and rushed toward Xiao Yan in a lightning-like manner. Xiao Yan remained in the sky. His eyes were icy cold as he looked at the large, black python that was jolting over with the sound of rushing wind. He inhaled a gentle breath before suddenly tightly clenching the heavy Xian ruler in his hand. His body advanced instead of withdrawing. In front of many startled eyes, he used a fierce momentum similar to colliding meteorites as he charged toward that enormous, black python. Flame-splitting tsunami. Xiao Yan's body had just moved when the heavy ruler was suddenly swung. A large ruler glow, 100 feet large, shot from the tip of his heavy ruler. Immediately, it ruthlessly hacked against the black python. Wave after wave of golden metallic sounds erupted. Sparks shot in all directions. However, this attack merely caused the black python's body to tremble a little. 6-joint body flowing ruler, 6-joint flame. Xiao Yan's expression was dark and chilly after the ruler attack fell. He changed his ruler technique and another sharp ruler glow, that caused some Ice River Valley's elders to feel their skin turning numb again, struck the black python. The hacking this time around caused some of the black-colored chains to emit a sharp screech. They had actually broken apart. Xiao Yan's body moved closer to the large python. The black python, that had been ruthlessly hit twice by Xiao Yan, unleashed a counter-attack under Protector Wu's control. One could see it opening its large mouth as a viscous black fog explosively shot forth. The interior of the black fog contained countless sharp screeches that caused one's soul to feel a piercing pain. Bang! Xiao Yan easily blocked the attack by the black python. After which, his body moved, and he appeared in front of it. He flipped his hand and the heavy ruler was withdrawn into his storage ring. Seals were formed in a lightning-like manner by his hands as a bright crystal glow swiftly agglomerated. Open Mountain Seal. Xiao Yan's hand seal suddenly trembled. His eyes were icy cold as his left hand suddenly struck forward. It carried a vast, mighty strength as it ruthlessly landed on the black python's forehead. Many chains on the forehead of the black python were blasted apart after his palm fell. Tons of cold, black air seeped out. Xiao Yan's left hand fell while his right hand struck forward once again. Sea Flipping Seal. The left palm spit mountains while the right hand flipped seas. By relying on the frightening strength that had been obtained with the Skyfire 3 mysterious change, Xiao Yan had used the first two seals of the God Seal skill together. If Sun Er were to see such mastery, she would involuntarily let out a gasp of surprise. The sea-flipping seal was accompanied by a shocking, majestic strength as it violently struck the head of the enormous python in front of many stunned eyes. Bang! The body of the enormous python slowly stiffened. A moment later, a low and deep noise sounded. One could see its body slowly collapse, transforming into a countless number of cracked chains. They blasted apart amid wave after wave of sharp screeches. The Dark Soul Python that Protector Wu had spent a great amount of effort to create had crumbled in the face of Xiao Yan's string of fierce Dou techniques. The figure in the air slowly disappeared. At the same time, the space in front of Protector Wu became distorted. A figure mysteriously appeared. That young face was wearing a ferocious smile. His hand contained an exquisite and pretty lotus, that was quietly rotating. This palm is for my teacher. The ferociousness on Xiao Yan's face slowly spread. At the same time, the fire lotus in his hand was shot out in a lightning-like fashion. Finally, it was violently pressed into Protector Wu's body in front of his shocked eyes. Bang! A soul-stirring sound once again exploded. Bang! The soul-stirring explosion sounded. A surging fire wave swept through the sky at this moment. The fire wave rolled and spread. The high temperature caused the city, which had turned icy cold because of the cold air covering it, to swiftly become warm. Countless numbers of eyes all over the city watched the fire wave spreading across the sky. Their eyes were filled with shock. Within less than 5 minutes, Xiao Yan had completed a perfect counterattack and turned the situation of him being continuously defeated around. Tian Shi's group swiftly pulled some distance away in the face of the fire wave that was spreading over. His expression changed a little as he looked at the spreading fire wave. The frightening fighting strength that Xiao Yan had suddenly unleashed caused even him to feel somewhat afraid. The continuous string of high-class Dou skills earlier possessed a destructive strength that was far too strong. Tian Shi turned his head. He exchanged looks with a couple of Ice River Valley's elders. Some killing intent flashed across his eyes as he did so. This person already had such an advantage at such a young age. If he were allowed to grow, it was likely that he would become a great enemy of the Ice River Valley in the future. Therefore, this person must not be allowed to live. The members of the Yi clan within the Yi clan manor watched the extremely intense battle in the sky. They involuntarily inhaled a deep breath of cool air, especially Yi Zhong. His eyes revealed his disbelief. He had never expected this young man, who appeared ordinary on the surface, to be this terrifying once he erupted. No wonder Xian Lan is so certain that he can save our Yi clan. This person is indeed extraordinary. The spreading fire wave in the sky finally disappeared in front of a countless number of gazes. The scene within was also gradually revealed. The first thing that entered one's sight was the young man with his tidy clothes. The soul-stirring explosion from earlier did not cause him the slightest injury. His aura was still strong and mighty, causing one to feel shocked. There was a black figure suspended in the air opposite him. Clearly, that figure was Protector Wu, who had suffered a heavy blow from the fire lotus. However, at this moment, the permeating black fog around him had been completely exhausted. Having lost the cover of the black fog, Protector Wu's somewhat illusionary body was exposed in front of a countless number of eyes, sparking numerous exclamations. It is actually a spiritual body. This Hall of Souls is indeed strange. Even the protectors in the hall are spiritual bodies. No wonder they are gathering souls from all over the place. Could it be due to this? Protector Wu's eyes became slightly gloomy after hearing the many private conversations that were transmitted over. That fire lotus explosion from Xiao Yan earlier had destroyed his strongest defense. At the same time, it had caused him to suffer a serious injury. That jade-green fire lotus seemed to possess the effect of burning a soul, causing his entire body to be filled with an intense pain. This brat was able to break into the hall twice. He does indeed have some ability. Protector Wu clenched his teeth. He seemed to have miscalculated the situation today. He had never expected the ant back then to be able to grow to this unbelievable stage after training for a few short years. Looks like I need to return and transmit this information so the Hall of Souls will dispatch some additional protectors over. This thought had just flashed through Protector Wu's heart when his heart abruptly tightened. His feet stepped on the ground as he hurriedly withdrew. When his body was withdrawing, a strange figure appeared at the spot where he was located earlier. A fist, that was wrapped by a jade-green flame, violently smashed against empty air. Some ripples even formed in the space where the fist landed. Once you have lost the black fog, you experts from the Hall of Souls are equivalent to a tiger having lost its claws. You pose no threat. A cold smile surfaced on Xiao Yan's face after his fist missed. His body shook and mysteriously disappeared. Protector Wu felt a chill rising in his heart when he saw Xiao Yan's figure disappear once again. This brat's speed was really too terrifying. He would not be afraid if he was still in his peak condition. However, after the Fire Lotus attack, his soul had already suffered a serious injury. He could no longer keep up with Xiao Yan's speed. Protector Wu's foot stepped against empty air. His figure transformed into a black shadow as it withdrew with lightning-like speed, but his withdrawing figure suddenly stiffened. His face was filled with shock as he hurriedly turned around. Black fog surged onto his hand and countless black shadows surged out of the black fog while emitting a sharp screech. After which, they suddenly exploded with a bang. The explosion formed a fierce circular ripple that spread apart. However, when it spread to a certain empty spot in the air, a fist with a burning jade-green flame viciously struck out. Protector Wu's attack was shattered until it withdrew. Immediately, Xiao Yan's attack penetrated through the remnant wave from the explosion and heavily smashed into Protector Wu's chest. Boom! Protector Wu's mouth immediately emitted a miserable cry after he was ruthlessly struck by a palm. His illusionary figure swiftly vibrated as his expression turned ghastly white. If this punch of Xiao Yan had not been blocked by the remnant waves of the exploding spirits, it was likely that it would have taken Protector Wu's life. Protector Wu borrowed this pushing force and his body flew back with lightning-like speed. A somewhat panicking screech was involuntarily emitted. Elder Tian Shi, lend me a hand. Xiao Yan's ghost-like figure once again appeared in front of Protector Wu after the roar had just sounded. His face was lifted into a savage smile as a fist ruthlessly smashed against Protector Wu's head. If this punch made contact, Protector Wu's soul would definitely be shattered on the spot. Bang! A fist was swung. However, just when it was about to smash into Protector Wu's head, an elderly figure appeared in a lightning-like manner. His shriveled hand grabbed Xiao Yan's fist. Two frightening forces erupted from the point of contact before transforming into an air wave that spread apart. Young man, why is there a need to have such a strong killing aura? Tianxi held his snake-shaped walking stick. His other hand was grabbing Xiao Yan's fist as he slowly inquired. Are you finally unable to endure any longer? Xiao Yan's face gradually turned gloomy upon seeing Tianxi intervening. He let out a cold laugh before his leg gave a kick. A sharp force formed a blade at the tip of his toes while emitting a dark chill. Bang! Tianxi's expression was as deep as water. The snake-shaped walking stick in his hand shook strangely and blocked Xiao Yan's kick. Immediately, his body swiftly took a couple of steps back and brought Protector Wu, who was behind him, away at the same time. Elder Tianxi, help me capture this brat. The Hall of Souls will give you a big thanks. If you feel that it is troublesome, you can also just delay him. I have already unleashed a signal. Soon, there will be some experts from the Hall of Souls who will come to lend a hand. At that time, this brat will definitely have difficulty escaping. Protector Wu's eyes were vicious as they stared at Xiao Yan. His tone was dense when he spoke. At this moment, he also understood that with his strength alone, it was impossible to capture Xiao Yan. If he were to fight alone, he might even end up perishing in Xiao Yan's hands. He had narrowly kept his life during the few exchanges earlier. If it was not due to his luck, it was likely that he would have already died. Tianxi smiled and nodded in the face of Protector Wu's words. There would be quite a great benefit if it was possible to befriend a powerful faction like the Hall of Souls. Additionally, he already had a killing intent towards Xiao Yan in his heart. Naturally, he would not reject Protector Wu's request. Protector Wu, please rest assured. You can leave him to my Ice River Valley. Tianxi softly laughed. After which, his dark, dense eyes were turned to Xiao Yan. He waved his hand gently and said, Bing Xian, Bing Hua, this brat is a little strange. The two of you should join hands with me and use the fastest speed to capture him. The two Ice River Valley's elders by the side were startled when they heard his words. They immediately replied with some hesitation, Old Shi, there are so many people watching. Isn't it a little inappropriate for the three of us to attack a member of the younger generation together? Younger generation? Tianxi coldly laughed when he heard their question. He looked at the two of them and said, even if the two of you were to join hands to deal with this brat, it is likely that you would meet your doom, yet you dare address him as someone from the younger generation. Bing Xian and Bing Hua exchanged glances with one another before clenching their teeth and nodding their heads. Immediately, they moved their bodies and formed a triangular formation with Tianxi, surrounding Xiao Yan in the process. Sharp auras slowly locked onto Xiao Yan. Numerous exclamations were immediately emitted from Yi City when they saw this scene in the sky. This Ice River Valley intended to deploy 3 elders at the same time to deal with that unfamiliar, young man. The questioning of others is merely just empty words. True reputation will only exist in the hands of those who survive. Those who bother about empty reputations will sooner or later perish. Tianxi ignored the uproar below as his gaze slowly focused on Xiao Yan. Finally, he uttered those words in a slow manner. The you after using the Skyfire 3 mysterious change is indeed very strong. However, you cannot turn the situation around today. If you surrender now, you will still be able to avoid suffering. Xiao Yan scoffed at Tian Shi's words. His eyes swept around him, and his expression slowly became grave. 2 7-star dozongs and 1 dozong at the peak. With this lineup, it was really not difficult to capture and kill him. However, this was on the precondition of Xiao Yan not using his other trump cards. Unfortunately, Xiao Yan's expression gradually became calm. His hands were pressed gently together. After which, they formed many strange seals. Following the changing seals, the temperature around him suddenly soared. 5-ring flame expelling technique. 5-ring flame expelling technique. Tian Huazunja's ultimate move. Xiao Yan had never completely unleashed it ever since he had begun practicing it. Hence, he similarly had little knowledge of the might of this Dou skill, which Tian Huazunja claimed to be almost comparable to a Tian-class Dou skill. Today, however, this Dou skill was completely unleashed by Xiao Yan's hands because of this dangerous situation. The seal formed by Xiao Yan's hands suddenly stiffened after the cold cry sounded in his heart. He clenched his hand and a deep blue-colored flame slowly curled and rose from his palm. This deep blue flame was called the Sea Demon Flame. It was not a heavenly flame. Instead, it was merely one of the stronger beast flames that Xiao Yan had obtained when collecting beast flames. This flame originated from the body of a rank 7 magical beast, the Sea Demon Beast. It was quite strong. Of course, it was naturally unable to compare with a heavenly flame. However, this thing cannot be missing now that Xiao Yan wanted to use the 5-ring flame expelling technique. The deep blue flame appeared and immediately swelled. It wiggled in a mysterious manner before transforming into a 100-foot large deep blue fire wolf. The 5-ring flame expelling technique required 5 types of flames to form 5 different fire spirits, a wolf, a leopard, a lion, a tiger, and a dragon. Only when all 5 types of fire spirits appeared together would it be possible to form the 5-ring flame expelling formation. Its strength was extremely frightening. However, it was a little unfortunate that Xiao Yan was only able to form 3 figures of the 5 spirits using 3 types of heavenly flames. Thus, its strength would be slightly reduced. Even if that was the case, its strength was still sufficient to burn the seas and boil the skies. TL, the last beast is changed to a dragon rather than a snake. The seal of Xiao Yan's hands changed once again after forming the fire wolf spirit. A fiery red bead quietly appeared in his palm. The sunlight from the sky caused a large cluster of white-colored flames to appear on Xiao Yan's palm. Xiao Yan's mind controlled this cluster of white-colored flames as it swiftly wiggled. Within a short period of time, it agglomerated into a fire leopard spirit. With Xiao Yan's current flame-controlling ability and his practice of the flame creation skill, he had already reached the requirement needed for this 5-ring flame expelling technique. The formation of 5 types of fire spirits did not pose much difficulty to him. A large fire wolf and fire leopard stood in front of Xiao Yan in a ferocious manner. They emitted a low roar to Tian Shi's group. This action of Xiao Yan had also caused Tian Shi's group to be somewhat surprised. They were a little uncertain about Xiao Yan's intention. While Tian Shi's group was feeling surprise, Xiao Yan's hands once again swiftly changed. A green, invisible, and dense white flames slowly appeared from his palm one after another. The familiarity Xiao Yan had over these 3 types of heavenly flame was far greater than the 2 flames from earlier. Hence, the formation of the last 3 types of fire beast did not exhaust too much time. Within a few minutes, a lifelike lion fire spirit, a lifelike tiger fire spirit, and a lifelike dragon fire spirit were born from the churning heavenly flames, appearing in this place. The space of the sky trembled following the appearance of these 5 types of fire spirits. The originally quiet natural energy also seemed to be dragged by something as it became extremely violent. The sudden change that had appeared stirred the surprise of a countless number of people. A moment later, numerous gazes were thrown to the 5 large fire spirits beside Xiao Yan without any prior agreement. These 5 large beings had only just appeared when such a change was formed in nature. Clearly, there was definitely a relation between the occurrences. 5-ring flame expelling technique. It is unexpected that this little fellow has practiced it to this stage. Cuckoo, by having practiced my Dou technique, he can be considered to have obtained some of my inheritance, right? Tian Huazunja's eyes was also attracted by the ripple in nature. Surprise flashed across his eyes when he saw the 5 familiar fire spirits. The corner of his mouth was immediately a little pleased. This Ice River Valley's way of doing things does really match the word despicable. Forget about bullying someone younger just because you are older. Now, you even want to bully others with numbers. It really diminishes the prestige of a large sect. Tian Huazunja glanced at Tian Shuangzi in front of him and faintly chastised. The winner becomes the king while the loser becomes the bandit. My Ice River Valley only cares about the results when doing anything, not the process of how it is done. Tian Shuangzi gave a smile in the face of Tian Huazunja's mockery. He said, however, the performance of this brat has far exceeded my expectations. He will no longer have the protection of luck this time around. Tian Shuangzi clearly understood the strength of Tian Shi. Although Tian Shi had failed the last time, the reason for that was due to Tian Huazunja. Moreover, he was currently aided by 2 Ice River Valley's elders. With the 3 of them joining hands, no one below the level of a Dou Zun could fight with them. There was no need to even talk about Xiao Yan. Tian Huazunja remained non-committal. These 2 people stood in the sky without anyone being able to see through them. A big battle had erupted in the other place, but this side, which ought to be the battle that would attract the most attention, had 2 people facing each other like wooden pillars. They showed no traces of being about to fight. The change in nature naturally did not escape the notice of Tian Shi's group. Their expressions immediately changed a little as their eyes sank while looking at the 5 fire spirits around Xiao Yan. Don't delay any longer. Attack. Tian Shi felt a little uneasiness within his heart. His expression was gloomy as he slammed the snake-shaped walking stick in his hand down, and he cried out with a deep voice. Bing Xian and Bing Hua nodded slightly upon hearing Tian Shi's words. They curled their hands and an ice-cold aura swiftly surged. Immediately, it transformed into 2 flickering ice swords. Threads of bone-chilling air continuously seeped out of them. The 5 fire spirit lingered around Xiao Yan's body. Hot flames continuously surged out of their bodies. Their high temperatures caused even the space itself to distort. Qi. Xiao Yan stood amid the fire spirits. His expression was calm. At a certain instant, he lifted his brows as a sharp, cold wind rushed up from behind him, striking at his fatal spot behind his head. Xiao Yan did not move his body in the face of this cold wind attack that had suddenly erupted. The wolf and leopard fire spirit by the side emitted low, deep roars. 2 waves of flames shot out of their mouths and completely blocked the cold air that was rushing over in an explosive fashion. 5-ring flame expelling technique, in formation. The sudden sneak attack that had erupted also broke the stalemate. A coldness flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes. The seal formed by his hands changed suddenly as a cold cry was emitted from his mouth. After Xiao Yan's cry sounded, the 5 fire spirits beside him emitted a swoosh sound as they rushed out, forming a pentagon shape. They completely covered an area within a 100-meter radius as they moved. Roar. Low and deep roars were emitted from the mouths of the 5 fire spirits. Immediately, 5 completely different colored fire pillars were shot out of their mouths. After which, they shot straight into each other's bodies, forming a perfect pentagon-like shape. Qi Qi. The rays of light crossed and orbited each other. Within a short moment, they had actually created an extremely complicated light formation in the sky. The light formation had just been formed when a bright fire curtain rushed down, covering the space within a 100-meter radius within it. Tianxi and the 2 others were also caught within this fire curtain. This sudden unexpected change caused the expression of Tianxi's group to change. Their bodies moved and gathered together. All of their hands moved and majestic, cold auras surged out. Finally, they violently smashed into the surrounding fire curtain. However, all it did was cause the fire curtain to fluctuate a little. Their cold auras automatically disappeared upon contact with the fire curtain. Old Qi, the fire affinity energy within this formation is really too wild and violent. The Dou Qi within our bodies is being suppressed. Bing Xian's expression changed as he uttered some words after sensing that his attack had considerably weakened. Tianxi's face was gloomy. His gaze was dark and dense as he looked at Xiao Yan, who was also within this great formation. He spoke in a dense manner, "There is no need to panic. Regardless of how many tactics this brat has, he will definitely be unable to defeat the 3 of us. Therefore, don't panic and lose focus." Xiao Yan looked at Tianxi's group within the formation and coldly laughed, "That may not be certain." The hand seal of Xiao Yan's hand suddenly changed after his voice sounded. Following the transformation of his hand, the surrounding fire curtain began to form ripples. Immediately, a 5-colored, brilliant flame surged out of it. After which, it transformed into a sea of flames that filled the light formation. The 5-colored flame was extremely beautiful. However, when this flame appeared, even Tianxi's expression became ugly despite his strength because he clearly sensed a kind of unusually destructive energy within the flame. 3 types of heavenly flames, 1 type of beast flames, and 1 type of mysterious sun flame. The 5 types of flames merged together and stimulated each other. The final creation could only be described by the word frightening. Sky incinerating expelling flames. Xiao Yan's expression was ice cold. The Dou Qi within his body continuously surged out. Finally, it entered the fire curtain around him. His fingers suddenly pointed at Tianxi's 3 men group below. The unusually frightening 5-colored flame immediately appeared like a ferocious beast as it swept toward Tianxi's group while being accompanied by distorted space. Tianxi's expression slightly changed when he saw the colorful flame sweep over from all directions. Bing Xian and Bing Hua behind him felt their heads become numb. They could clearly sense an extremely violent, destructive might within the beautiful flame. This kind of destructive strength was something that even someone as strong as Tianxi needed to treat seriously. Otherwise, he would only end up dying on the spot. At this moment, the extremely proud elder Tianxi could not help but withdraw the poor estimation he made for Xiao Yan.